According to some basic search we have made, they say there are 100 fast-growing cities in the world, in the whole world. Out of the 100 fast-growing cities, Africa has 27. According to them, we are now 40% urbanized. But 40 years from now, 60% of our people, whether we like it or not, are going to be urbanized. This is a world trend, and Africa cannot be exempted from it. Whether we like it or not, they push and pull theory for people living rural area to urban area for greener pasture exists.
The environment is a holistic approach. The environment is the one discipline that I tell people is more challenging than you can even imagine, because everybody has a stake in it.
And I'm here to talk about water. My title here is on drinking water quality, challenges and opportunities in Liberia's reconstruction and rehabilitation efforts. Liberia is fortunate to have tremendous amount of watershed. We are endowed with so many rivers and tributaries. But the problem is most of our waters are polluted, in some cases from industry, a whole lot, heavy metals concerned. And also that's going to spill over to affect our food. We have a vibrant food sources, and fishing is part of food, and fish come from water. The agents of infections that are connected with water. So that's also very, very important. Water, we say, it's important because it supports life, right? It's one of the most essential commodities for life. It's like your heartbeat. How long can you go without water? For the most part, if you make it to 7 days, you're lucky. 4 days and you're dead. There is a need, therefore, for a reliable water supply. Even though we have abundance of water system around us, but there is shortage of water for human consumption. And this is not only attributed to Liberia, even the great United States. They rush water. My other concern is also the effect of sewage pollution to water, pesticides, farm runoff, chemicals, mine waste, etc., etc. During my research on Liberia, Liberia and water, Liberia, water and disease, I was able to come across only one study. And when I compare that to Sierra Leone, Cote d'Ivoire, and I jump over Guinea, went to Ghana, and I saw that Sierra Leone, not even any better, just of 3 studies. Cote d'Ivoire had 13 studies on water and diseases that are related to their own country situation. Ghana had the highest numbers. They were up there of 64. And I also look at water, Liberia, and treatment of water diseases. And I only saw 3 studies on that as well. Sierra Leone had 2, Cote d'Ivoire had 7, and Ghana had 59.
You hear about rural-urban migration. Very rarely you hear or see urban-rural migration. To have urban-rural migration, development will be simultaneously occurring in the rural centers. That means government has to facilitate this or provide the means by which development occurs. So if you have development occurring in the rural center, people will remain there. Schools like Tupper University, for example, kids who want to come to Monrovia, they stay there for school. And you have people living here and going in the road to the rural center to live and work. But then, if you don't have development simultaneously occurring there, they will move from the rural to the urban center. So let us not only make them farm, we have to provide more than what the people are doing now for them to farm.
You have this convention, the Climate Change Convention. The objective of that convention is to stabilize the greenhouse gases. Because as the temperature increases, if we cannot help to stabilize the climate, we will run into a problem. And then after you have the Kyoto Protocol, talking basically about emission reduction targets, milled by the industrialized country. What we are experiencing today, Africa, the small island developing states, these two regions are not the contributors to this problem. What we are talking about today, it is in the industrialized countries that have been identified as the major polluters. Because you know where they are today, they compromised, there were a lot of compromises made on the environment. And today we continue to experience the brunt of climate change.
Let's talk about the question of those of us who are alive today. We should bear in mind that 100 years ago, there were people in this walking around the streets of Monrovia too. 200 years ago, there were people walking. Can you imagine if they had cut down all the trees at that time? Then today we'd be in trouble. We can't find wood to even build our houses. And so the preservation becomes very critical for the following generation. I know I'm preaching to the converted here in this room, but I just want to re-emphasize so that you will be convinced that people like us, who are not part of this, quote, environmental structure, we are beginning to learn what you've been preaching. Because here is a classic case that the wise utilization of what we got today, bearing in mind the need to preserve it for tomorrow's generation, I think is very critical. That underlies what I have been terming here as the essence and the importance of the work you are doing.
Today, as we climax this whole conference that we started on the 15th of this month, we decided to do something that is quite unusual in our society. To give flowers for those who have worked so hard in the environmental community, who have worked through the trenches to make sure that our environment is safe, to make sure that there's something in the environment that won't do us and only do us fairly. And so today we decided to honor a few people in our civil society who have worked in the trenches.
AEW 2010 Environmental Service Award presented to Mr. Alexander Hill. It is therefore a great pleasure for me, sir, to present this award to you, and hope and pray that the Lord will be with you and enjoy it, because you worked for it.
Thank you very much.